Hello everyone and welcome. I'm really excited to do this tutorial for you today because I've never done a restaurant website before. So pretty much this is the first time I'm working on this layout. So the things that you need in order for you to build this layout are hosting and also Divi itself. Now, when it comes to hosting, I highly recommend that you use InMotion hosting. I've used InMotion hosting myself and I really like their service. And in fact, if you use my affiliate link, which I'll include in the show notes below, I will give you full access to 2 courses. One of them is Divi Blueprint 3. Pretty much this is the ultimate Divi course out there. It covers everything that you need in order for you to master Divi. Secondly, I also have a WordPress course, which I'm also giving away for free if you purchase the hosting through my affiliate link, which I've included in the show notes below. So without wasting a lot of time, let's dive in and let me show you how I managed to build this layout. So first off, we're going to start off by building a brand new page. So I'm here in my dashboard. Make sure you logged in. So here on pages, I'm just going to call this Curry House. So this is just my page name. You can call this page name whatever you want. Right, okay, so straight away I'm going to go into use the Divi Builder and then click on use Visual Builder. Right, so what I want to do here is to add a full width section. So I'm going to click this plus button here, click on full width, and what we need here is the full width header. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Right, so let's start off with the title. So let's call this Curry House. Right, so that's going to be our title. Subheading, let's call this Best Curry in Town. So the best curry in town. So by the way, I mean, you can adjust this and make it whatever you want. So here on the button text, I'm just going to say make reservation. And then on my button 2, let's call this view menu. Excellent. So we've got all the elements that we need. I'm just going to save for now and add our main image. Now, the image we're going to add is going to be on this section. So in order for us not to get confused, I'm going to come over here and delete this section, which was added in by default. Right. So now I'm going to come over here to this gear icon to access my section settings, click on background, and we need the 3rd tab because we need to add a new image. So I'm going to click this plus button here. And the image we're going to add is this one right here. I'm going to click upload an image. In fact, before I click upload an image, if you don't have your image in your media library, which is going to be the case, all you need to do is to come over here to upload files and then navigate to the file that you need from your computer. Okay, so I'm going to click on upload an image. So now we can see our images in the background. Okay, so now that we have our image in the background, let's go ahead and save. Right, so now we're going to come over here into our module settings. I'm going to click this gear icon to access my settings. So straight away, I'm going to come over here into design and let's customize this. Let's start off with the layout. So first off, we need this text to be centered. So I'm just going to center that and we're going to make this full screen. Now watch what happens when I do this. This is now covering my full screen. And the good news is it's also responsive, which is really cool. So I'm going to come over here to scroll down icon. Yes, we're going to need a scroll down icon. So I'm going to click to select the color and we're going to make the color white. The size is okay at 50 pixels. And then we're going to click here to show the scroll down arrow. So here it is right there. In fact, you can play around with these if you want to customize this, but I'm just going to leave this as it is. Okay, so now that we're done with that, I'm just going to close it. Let's come over here to our image. Now this is vertically centered, which is what we need, which is good. Now let's go on to the text. So what we need to do with the text here is, you can see here it's set on dark. We need to make sure that this is light in order for us to read it on this background. So I'm going to click on light. And then I'm going to come over here and click on title text. And here with the title text, I'm going to select my color. In fact, we may not need to do this because we've already selected white for the color. So that's fine. So let's come over here now and change this default font. So the font we need here is Cantanta 1. That's a funny name, actually. All right, okay, cool. Anyway, let's make it bold and let's make this massive. Let's make this 100%. Okay, so that's looking nice and big. Let's make it all caps and see which one is better. I think it's better when it's like this. So we'll leave it as that. And then let's come over here to our content text. Let's increase that. Oh, in fact, we don't have content text. It's subhead that I'm looking for. So in our subhead text, we're going to increase that, make it slightly bigger. 38 is fine. But now the font, I think we need to use something different. And I'm going to go with this one here called Crayon. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so looking good so far. So next, what we're going to do here is to customize the colors of these buttons. So I'm going to come over here to button 1. Now, in order for you to customize the buttons, you need to make sure that this use custom styles for button 1 is activated. Right, so now it's activated. We can now increase the size if we want to. So I'm just going to leave this at 22. And then let's scroll down here and let's change our fonts. So the font here is going to be set to bold, all caps. Okay, so that's looking good so far. I'm going to come over here to add button 1 icon and select no, because we don't need an icon for that. Next, we're going to adjust the colors now. So button 1 text color, let's set that to red. But what we're going to do now is we're going to come over here to the button background color and set that to white. Okay, so this is beginning to take shape now. Border width, we don't need any borders, so I'm going to remove that. And then we need to make this button look like a pill. So in order for us to do that, we're going to come over here to border radius. So increase that to about, say, 50. And now we can see that our button has been fully customized. Excellent. Now, finally, what we need to do is to come over here to the button background hover. Select that. Let's choose our white color. What I normally do here is I just add some transparency. So when I hover over it, it just shows that that's a button. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's go over to our next one, which is button 2. Again, we're going to activate use custom styles for button. So as before, let's increase this to, I think it was 22. We're going to make it bold and all caps. And then we're going to make sure that the add button 2 icon is set to no. Button border width, we're going to set that to 0. And then for our button 2 background color, let's use this yellow. Right, so I really like that. Now the text color needs to be set to red because that's working well together. And then finally, we're going to come over here to our border radius and increase that to about 50 to match the other one. Okay, now let's come over here and change our background hover. We're going to choose this yellow and add some transparency. Excellent. So that's looking really cool. So I'm going to come over here to content, and then instead of just having view menu, I'm just going to say view the menu. Okay, so the buttons now are pretty much almost the same size. Right, so we are done with this. So let's go ahead and save for now. So the next thing you're going to do is to add a gradient here so we're able to read this text and the navigation easier. So to do that, I'm going to come over here to my section settings, click on background, and I'm going to come over here to the next tab, which is the linear gradient. Click this plus button here, and my first color is going to be set to black, and my second color is going to be set to white. Like that. Then I'm going to come over here to my image. So on our blend mode, instead of leaving it at normal, I'm going to select multiply. So now you can see that we've pretty much added this gradient. It's beautiful. Now we can read the text easier, and also our navigation is much easier to read. So pretty much this is how we create our header area of our website. So this is part 1. In the next part, we're going to create the second section, which will have all our menus. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to build the next section, and this section is going to have our main menus. So I'm going to come over here, click this plus button, and insert a irregular section, and we're going to need 3 columns. And in these columns, we're going to need some call to actions. So I'm going to select call to action, and we're going to add our text. So here, I'm just going to call this menu like that. And then for our button text, I'm just going to say order like that. Now, in order for this button to show, you need to make sure that you add a link. For now, I'm just going to add a blank link, but you can add a link that goes to the actual page. Okay, in fact, I can see here that I've spelled menu wrong, so let's fix that. Right, so that's looking good. Next, I'm going to add some text. So I'm just going to copy this from our lorem ipsum and paste my text in here. Right, so now that I have all that in place, let's come over here to our design, click on text, and let's adjust these sizes. So I'm going to start over here. So this is fine because this is set as light and it's centered. Let's come over here to our header text. Let's make it bold and all caps. Okay, that's fine. And again, we're going to go into our body text and set this to about 16 or maybe even 17. And then finally, we're going to come over here to our button and activate custom styles for button in order for us to design the button. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go here to my button background color straight away and make it red. The text color needs to be set at, this could be white or even yellow. That's fine, but let's try something different now. We're going to set it as yellow. And border width, we don't need border width. And as before, we're going to make this button look like a pill. So we're going to set that to about 48. In fact, let's make it 50. Right, letter spacing, let's increase that to about 2. We're going to make this bold, all caps. Right, the text is for the button is slightly too big. Let's make it smaller. Right, I think 16 is fine. Okay, and the letter spacing as well is a bit too much. So let's dial this back to 1 or maybe even 2. Right, I like that. That's better. And then we're just going to remove this icon. And then like we did before, we're going to come over here to our background hover and let's select a color. So let's go with the red and just lower the opacity. Good. All right, so that's looking good. I'm going to go ahead now and save changes. So the next thing we're going to do is to go into our section settings and add some images to the background of these columns. So I'm going to click this row item settings, click on background, and we're going to start off with column 1 background. So click the third tab to add our image. So I'm going to click this plus button here, and we're going to start off with this very first image. Click upload an image. Scroll down to column 2 background, do the same thing, click the plus button, add our image, click upload an image. Let's go to column 3, click the third tab, click the plus button, and we're going to add our third image like that. Okay, so now we have all our images in place. That's looking good. For us to see more of this image above this call to action, we need to add some CSS. So we're going to come over here to advanced, click on custom CSS. So here for our column 1 main elements, I'm going to paste my CSS, and we can see now that we have more of this image now showing. So let's go ahead and do this for column 1 main element, column 2 and column 3. So I'm just going to paste my CSS code and do this on the final one. Excellent. Right, now we can go ahead and save. Next, I'm going to come over here and we're going to copy this module. But before we copy it, let's go into the settings and change this background color. So we're going to come over here to background. And then we're going to click in here and choose black. So this really looks cool, but what we're going to do is we're going to add some transparency to that and show a bit of the background image. So you can see here as I'm dialing down, it's revealing what's in the background. So let's leave it up to about there, but you can just work with this and see what works better for you. So I'm going to leave it as that. Click on save, and then I'm going to duplicate this. In fact, I'm going to copy and paste it. It's easier for me. So I'm going to press Command C or Control C on a PC, and then just press Command V to paste, or Control V to paste if you're on a PC. Fantastic. So you can always go in there and change the links to these buttons. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is to come over here into our row settings, and we're going to go to design, click on sizing. So we're going to make this custom width. So I'm going to click on select custom width, and we're going to make this 1200. And then we're going to come over here to use custom gutter width, and we're going to set this to 2. Okay, so that's a bit closer. That's much better. And then equalize column heights, I'm going to set that to yes. And then we're going to go ahead and save. So this is looking really cool. Now it's missing one thing, and that is the title for this. So let's add a new row. I'm going to click this plus button here, single row, and this time it's going to have a text module. So I'm going to add text, and we're going to call this today's special, like that. So I'm going to come over here into design, click on text. We're going to set the orientation to center, make it bold, and let's choose Cantana 1. So that matches with what we have on the main header area. Right, so that's looking good. We're going to increase the size, make it much bigger. 40 looks fine. And then we're going to change the color to red. Right, that's even better. Let's save this. So all I have to do now is to drag this to the top, like that. So our section is almost done. All I'm going to do next is to add a bit more padding here. So I'm going to make this about 100. And then I'm going to add a bit more on the bottom, maybe 80. So I'm just adding a bit more breathing space. Okay, so this is our second part. So this is where it ends. Okay, so let's move on to the next section. So I'm going to come over here again, click this plus button, click on regular section, but this time we are going to need 1/3, 2/3. So my first third is going to have an image. So I'm going to select my image module, click on upload URL. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to upload my image, which is already in my media library. And then I'm going to click on upload an image. So you can see our image is now showing there. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to add a text module. And we're just going to copy a bunch of text from Lorem 2. Like that. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it in here. But obviously, if this is going to be a production website, you need to add proper text, which you would have put together. All right, so now that we have that in place, we're going to come over here to design, and we're going to change our text. Our text color here, we're going to leave it as it is because we're going to add a background color. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as it is because I need to see what I'm doing. So alignment to the left is fine. We're going to increase the size to about, say, 30. But we're going to change our text font to crayon. Next, let's add some line height. So I think 1.3. Yeah, in fact, let's lower this size to about maybe 24. Okay, so that's looking good. Right, so now with that in place, I'm just going to save for now. And then I'm going to come over here and click on my row settings and make this full width. So I'm going to come over here to design, click on sizing, make this row full width. And then I'm going to come over here to use gutter width. And I'm going to set this to 1. And then I'm just going to activate equalize column height. Okay, so that's looking good. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add a background color to this row. So I'm going to save this for now. Click on the module settings. Click on background. Then we're going to add our color. So I'm going to make this red. So now it's time to change our text color. So I'm going to come over here to my design, click on text, change this color from dark to light. Okay, let's reduce this line height one more time. Yeah, I think 1.2 will do. Okay, so that's looking good. So next I'm going to come over here to spacing and we're going to add some padding. So I'm going to start off with padding left. Let's start off with 100 and see how that looks. Okay, so let's change this to 140. Okay, that's fine. And top, I'm going to make this 200. Okay, that's a bit too much. So let's make it 100. Right, and then bottom, we're going to make this, let's say, another 100. And then right, let's make that 200. Okay, so that's looking okay. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and save, and then I'm going to add another module. So this time it's going to be a contact form. So I'm going to add my contact form. So next I'm going to go into my advanced tab and add some CSS. So in the main element, I'm going to paste the CSS code. So this allows now my form to not touch the ends. So I can just play around with this until I have my padding set correctly. So let's say this comes to 80. In fact, that's for the top. So I'm going to leave that at 40. Try 120 for the right. In fact, maybe even 180 would work. Okay, that's better. And then here, I'm going to try 120, maybe even 140. Excellent. So these are lined up now. So I'm going to save for now. And then I'm going to come over here to my row settings. So in our row settings, I'm going to come over here to column 2 background, click this plus button and add our background color. So now we can see that this color covers this whole area and the form is now visible on this red background. Okay, so now with that in place, I'm going to go ahead now and save. And then we're going to come over here to our form settings and let's make some adjustments. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come over here to design and for the form text field, we can make this bold. In fact, we can play around with this and come up with anything that suits us. So I'm going to make this slightly bigger. Maybe bold is not ideal for this, but size 18 is fine. I'm going to increase the line height a little bit to make this form really big. And then I'm going to come over here to my form field text color. So here again, you can play around with these colors, but I'm just going to leave them as they are. And then I'm going to come over here to border. And again, for the border, you can actually use border and add a border color. So just to keep it simple, I'm going to leave it as it is. But the only thing I'm going to fix here is the buttons because I don't like the way it looks on this red background. So again, let's activate use custom styles for button. And then what we need to do is to add a background color. So we're going to come over here to button background color and let's make it white. Okay, that's looking good. And then for our border width, I'm going to remove that. And then for our color, button text color, let's make that red. Okay, so now we've just made the button slightly bigger at size 26. Let's see what happens when we make this bold and all caps. Right, so that's nice and big. I really like that. Okay, so again, I'm going to remove this button icon. And then finally, we're going to come over here and add our background hover. So I'm going to click this plus button. This time I'm going to make that orange. Yeah, so that will do for now. Okay, so now that I'm happy with this, I'm going to go ahead now and save. So what I'm going to do next before I finalize this section is I'm going to come over here and remove this padding. So I'm going to come over here to spacing and then make sure that on the bottom it's set to 0 and on the top it's also set to 0. I'm going to save and then I'm going to come over here to my row settings and then do the same. So for the bottom, set that to 0. So now it's really flash. And then I'm going to do that for the top as well. Excellent. So that's looking good. I am going to go ahead now and save. Now you can see the way this image is coming in. I'm not really happy with that. So let's go in and change that. So I'm going to come over here to design, and then I'm going to search for animation. And as you can see, it's showing right here at the bottom. So instead of animating from left to right, I'm just going to set it as no animation and then save. Okay, so far our page is looking really nice. Now let's go ahead and fix the menu, because chances are when you set up your menu, it's not going to look like how mine is looking right now. So that's what we're going to do. So this is another break to this video. So we're going to make this part 4. So for now, I'm going to save and exit the Visual Builder. Right, so I'm going to come back into our dashboard. Click on Theme Customizer, and then I'm going to come over here to Header and Navigation. Click on Primary Menu Bar. So here with the background color, I've already customized this, but if you remove that background, you'll notice that you'll have this default layout that comes with Divi. So all you have to do here is to just lower the opacity here, and that makes your image blend into the header area. So that's all you need to do. And then once you're happy with that, you can go ahead and save. But there's one more thing that we need to do, and this is our text. So we need to add some line height to our headers. So I'm going to come over here to, right, where is the, okay, general settings, typography. Right, so here our body text size is set to 14. Let's increase that to about 16. And then our body line height at 1.7 is fine. Now here on our header line height, we need to set that to about 1.3 or even 1.4. Okay, and then our spacing, let's set that to 2. And then we're going to come over here to our page and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is how our page looks like so far. But I still think we need to add a bit more line height. So let's come back here and adjust that. So let's do something ridiculous at 1.8 and let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to refresh the page. Okay, that's a bit too much. So let's decrease that to about 1.6. Okay, that's much better. So these are the adjustments that you could do once your website is done. And then finally, what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to come over here and make sure that my header font style is set to bold. And then our body link text color, I'm going to set that to yellow or even a bright orange like that, because blue does not really work with our branding. Okay, so now that we have that in place, I'm just going to close everything, refresh this page, and now let's take a look at our final design. So pretty much when someone comes to this website, they can either click this down arrow and that will take us to the next section. And then here they can choose their menus. So we've got different types of menus here. And as I mentioned before, you can link this menu to whatever page you want on your website. And then over here, this is a page where they can make a special reservation, or you can choose whatever you want to do with this. But the good thing is they can give you some information here. This could be also maybe applying for a VIP to the restaurant. I mean, it can be whatever you want. And then, this will submit and send you the email to your email box. So pretty much this is our layout. It's nice, it's clean, and as I mentioned before, you can actually use this in your own design. So I will export this layout, and once you set up your Divi website, you can import this layout and use this. Now, all the images used in this design are all royalty free, so you don't need to worry about being in trouble with the copyright or having issues with the copyright. And also, as I mentioned before, if you buy your hosting through my affiliate link, I will give you full access to Divi Blueprint 3, which is the course that will give you everything that you need to learn Divi. And as a bonus as well, I will add the WordPress course as well. So if you're brand new to web design, you can start all the way from learning how to use WordPress and then diving straight into Divi. Now you can see how powerful this is. This is really, really powerful. You can actually build professional looking websites, and keep an eye on this. I'll be producing more and more of this. And what I'd recommend that you do is to subscribe on the website, mac.live or diviuniversity.com, in order for you to be notified when I produce more tutorials like this. Okay, so thanks for watching and all the best.